Hello everybody, Sunday Adelaja here from Kyiv, Ukraine. I'm back with another troublemaking topic today. I want to talk today about how the government can clean up the religious mess in Nigeria. And that is going to get a lot of people mad and annoyed. But you say everything that's going on in Nigeria in religious circles, I think it has come to a point where everybody should agree that we are in a mess, that there is a big mess in the religious circle in Nigeria, especially with the prosperity Pentecostal gospel merchants. The government intervention is absolutely overdue. The government of Nigeria, if we still have government in that country, we should bring in some regulations to regulate the religious affairs in Nigeria as soon as possible. Not just in relations to the Pentecostal and charismatic churches, but in relations to religion in general. Some of the biggest problems that we have in our country is because of our religious practices, both the Islam and Christianity, Muslims and Christians. So there is a need for an urgent intervention in how religion is being practiced in our country. So today, I've decided to come with a comprehensive guide and suggestions on how the government can clean up the religious atmosphere, the religious, mess that is going on in the country. There was a man that wanted to do this. His name was Jim Obaze. And because of the influence of some Christians in the Buhari government, that man was removed and dismissed and shamed publicly all over the country. He was dismissed from his job, and now those same Christians that the government of Buhari was listening to, they are the ones causing him, they are some of the ones causing him the biggest amount of problems right now, because the CAN is like an opposition party to the government of Nigeria now, and the Christians, all those GOs and the big men, they are the ones bringing some of the biggest edicts to Buhari. So the Muslims are bringing their own edict through the headsmen and the Boko Haram, and then the Christians also are bringing their edict to the government, just because the government compromised with the standard of standing on the side of law and side of truth, but they went and played politics with religion, removed Jim Obaze, and now they are paying the price for it. And if anybody in the government has ear, let them hear that it is time to look for that Jim Obaze now and bring him back as soon as possible. Or if you cannot find Jim Obaze, or if he doesn't want to agree to come back, because he knows what to do, he knows exactly what to do. If he doesn't want to come back, find somebody, or let him recommend somebody to come and put sanity into the religious circle, into the religious world, into the religious atmosphere of our country. Now, so what are my own suggestions? Number one, pastors and imams must have minimum qualifications before they are given permission to preach. This is what is practiced all over the world. It's nothing exceptional in this. You must have some basic qualification before you could be allowed to speak in the pulpit. Number two, the same number one, but another point, we must tell people that we must also demand experience from them. Not just qualification, but experience before they could lead other people. And the law must be set that they are not allowed to practice until they have gone through some check. Pastors must be checked that they don't have any past criminal records. It's the same with imams. They all must be checked that they do not have past criminal records. It's not enough to simply say that they are born again or they are changed. We know too many born again people that were changed in the first few years and then they went back to their vomit. So it's not enough to just say people are born again. Let's demand accountability. Let's demand accountability about their criminal records. Let's demand accountability about their experiences. Let's demand the accountability about their qualification, their theological qualification. Next point. Too many predators have entered into the pulpit in Nigeria. Too many people who are called pastors, GOs, imams, and priests, too many of them are psychopaths, predators, and criminals. They are in the pulpit with bad intention, and they are preying on gullible people. And also, we must have the same demand for missionaries and pastors coming from other countries, especially with Muslims, Muslim missionaries that are coming and are then becoming sponsors of Boko Haram or becoming Boko Haram warriors. So, for the people who are coming from other countries, they were priests, imams, pastors who are coming from other countries, they must be checked. We must make sure that they submit their papers. We must collect their biometrics, and we must give all those things to Interpol and let Interpol check them out. If there is any criminal record behind them, we check them out of the country. Because there are too many criminals trying to escape justice from their countries. And they come in disguising as missionaries or as Muslim missionaries or Christian missionaries and then become, criminals and predators on our young men and women, or even becoming Boko Haram terrorists. So, my point is, no pastor or church official should be allowed to provide counseling services unless they have a degree in guidance and counseling or psychology and psychiatry from any accredited university, recognized university, and duly certified university by the appropriate agency, either in Nigeria or overseas. So that is another point. We should not allow pastors to even counsel people. That's why all these evil stories and all kind of rubbish are coming to the church, because there is no demand, there are no standards. But this will reduce the number of women that are being taken advantage of. It will reduce the number of children that are being raped. It will reduce the number of women that are being trafficked abroad, or even it will reduce the number of pimped pastors that are pimps. Next point. Churches in Nigeria and mosques in Nigeria should be classified as charities. Right now, pastors will tell you that, are we charity organization? Why should we be helping people? No. Churches are supposed to be the #1 charity organizations in the world. Mosques also. And if those churches are not doing charity work, they must be closed down. Because as non-profit organization, the reason why we give them the permission to be non-profit is because they will be doing good to the society. So if they are not doing good to the society, and they are not giving regular reports of the work they are doing for the community and the society, their license should be withdrawn and they should close down. Because if they are not a charity organization, then let them register as a business and let them pay taxes. But if they are not paying taxes, let them show us the good work that they are doing in the society. Next point. Churches should not be used as cover-up for tax evasion, because that's what's going on right now. Go to Redeemed Church, go to Winners Chapel. They have churches, they have universities, and they are not paying taxes on these things because, they are like religious organizations. No, what is happening is that churches and mosques are using the religious, chaos that is in Nigeria, irregularities and lack of order to evade taxes. There is tax evasion going on, and there is tax avoidance going on as well. These churches and the Muslim religious organizations shouldn't be allowed to own fuel stations like they are doing right now, especially churches. But they are saying it belongs to the church, no tax. They shouldn't be allowed to own banks, shopping malls, hotels, printing press, fee-paying universities, schools, etc. Only if they are paying taxes on those things, then they can own them. But they might be able to have subsidiaries. Those things might be their subsidiaries, but that are operating like business, and they are paying full taxes to the government. Then it's okay. So they only should be affiliates to the church, but not owned by the church. And that's why then they will not have the tax exempt status like the church does, or like the mosque does. So next point, all money transactions of churches and mosques should be under surveillance. Like in our own church here right now, I'm the founder of the church and the senior pastor, but I cannot even withdraw $1 without explanation to the government. Even though it's our own money from my own offering, I cannot spend $1 without explanation to the government. So the same thing should happen in Nigeria. All money transactions in churches and mosques should be under surveillance. Otherwise, churches will be funding Boko Haram. Mosques will be funding Boko Haram. Churches will be, doing corruption. All kind of things will be going on. The Nigerian government must wake up and do something about this mess that's going on in our country right now. So there must be investigation into the money transactions of the churches and mosques. And if necessary, or when necessary, we should ensure that they are not being used to cover up, that those money and offering are not being used as cover up to launder money, as fraud lottery, as scam, mail fraud, drug trafficking, cocaine trafficking, codeine trafficking, and other illegal activities, because those things are going on right now. They are using the offering from the church to kidnap people. They are using the offering of the church to, you remember the story of the big GO that filled his old plane with millions of dollars and flew to South Africa. They are using the money of the church to buy arms, and all kind of evil are going on, and nobody is being prosecuted for it. There must be order. We need law and order in the affairs of our nation, in every aspect of life, especially in the area of religion. Otherwise, religion will tear that country apart. Both Christian religion and Muslim religion, Islam religion, they will tear that country apart. Next point. If you go to many churches or Muslim mosques in Nigeria right now, you will discover that there are a lot of feeding centers or eateries and restaurants or cafe where people are being fed. But some of those things are not even regulated. So there must be a law that says to sell food and drinks in churches and mosques, the people involved must be certified to do so, including the bread and wine for communion. They must use number one, because people are getting poisoned and people are getting sick after all this thing, because you don't even know where they get that bread from or that wine from. So these things must be certified, and they must meet a certain health standard of the land. This will help avoid food poisoning in the churches and in the mosque. Even cases of death are being reported after people went to church and ate some things there. Next point. Some mosques and some churches are actually putting, especially churches, I know for sure of TB Joshua, they put codeine or drugs or narcotics and all those kind of suspicious new generation churches in Nigeria, and those ones who are doing crusades and making people roll on the floor, when they are saying they are doing deliverance, many of them, and they are selling holy water and things like that. You know what they are doing? They are putting codeine, drugs, narcotics in those holy water and all those things they are giving them to drink. And then that's why people are behaving and rolling on the ground, behaving as if they have lost their mind and things like that. It's because of what pastors have done. Pastors have become so evil that they put drugs in people, so that they will be mesmerized and misbehave, and they will be shooting them on video, so as to show all over the world that yes, they are the anointed ones. There was an actor, a Nigerian actor, a famous guy, that came out one day because he went to pray to TB Joshua to save his mother from dying, and he said they gave him something happened, he didn't even remember, and he was behaving, Ike or something they call him. He was behaving and misbehaving on the camera, and they were shooting all those things and showed him on television. And then he after that guy had not recovered up to now. The mother died, and he came out later on to say, I don't even know what happened to me. They did something to me, because they are putting narcotics and drugs and codeine in people's food, in people's even in Holy Communion, so that people will, be in the spirit, so to say, and they will say, oh, you are anointed, deliverance is happening, and people will be crawling on the ground, misbehaving, pouring things from their mouth. All those churches that are doing those weird deliverance, it is not because there is evil spirit there, it's because they are putting drugs. Look out for those churches. Because there is this lady, what's her name? Evangelist Efsiba, Teresa. She is the one who told the story that they put things in people's food, in people's drinks, in the synagogue of all nations. She told the story on my program here. And other churches, and I've seen people like, people behaving the same way in Igila's church, in Suleiman's church, people losing their mind and pouring water on people. These are the things that happen when government, abjugate their responsibility, and they don't do what they're supposed to do to put sanity and to bring regulation into the affairs of religion and society as a whole. Next point. Churches should be prohibited from promising multiple and multiplication of money, or miracles just because you are giving money. It should be banned and prohibited by law that you are getting something for nothing. That you could just bring money and then the money will be multiplied. Multiplication of money, what they call a money miracle or something. No, I think they call it money. Is it money miracle or money? Something like that. Something money. All those people practicing those things, miracle money or whatever, they should be prosecuted. Because it's a fraud. Daylight robbery, midday fraud. Miracle, all of those fake RNG miracles, all those things should be prohibited by the law. That's what Obasanjo did when he was there. But once he left, the law is not being observed anymore. So all those false promises of increase in money, multiplication of money, because you just gave offering to the pastor or because you just gave offering to the church, all those things should be criminalized. They should also be banned from issuing threats, curses to members because they don't do what they want to do. If any pastor that is cursing and that is, using threat against people in public, they must be, like Oyedepo was slapping that lady, they must be prosecuted for these things. All sorts of crime and scams are going on in the name of religion in Nigeria. And these things should be stopped. They are using the name of God to perpetrate such evil that even unbelievers do not come to the mind of unbelievers. They do prophecy. All those prophecies come every year must be banned. Even in the Bible itself, which is the most religious book in the world, if your prophecy doesn't come to pass, you're not just banned, you are stoned to death. Even in the Bible. So why should we allow those things in a secular society to be coming to deceive people with all kinds of scam prophecies? Miracle scam, wealth covenant scam, tithe for wealth scam. All these things should be seen as crime unless they could prove that they work. Next point. You see all Nigerian pastors now are bragging that they are having their private jet, and other people are saying they are going to have their own private jet. Private jet has become like a status thing that God is blessing you. Where? Through offering, through people's money. If private jets and other ostentatious lifestyle commodities were to be probed in Nigeria, all those men of God are supposed to be in prison. Because if they are coming from offerings and they are not coming from legitimate businesses, that is crime right there. That is fraud and corruption. So if this money that they are using to buy all these ostentatious things and and live an ostentatious lifestyle, jet and houses at university, if they are coming from people's offering, then that should be viewed as punishable offense because they might not have paid taxes on them, and also they are robbing people. Next point, there must be medical certification to prove miracles. So if you say you did miracle, let's go through medical test. Let the medical test provide and tell us that this person is healthy now. This is what happens all over the world. Medical certification and proofs should be provided before miracles could be advertised on media or on television. I'm not against them being advertised on television, but let it be real. Let it be real. Next point. Churches and pastors should not be allowed to prescribe medicine. People, because they are not saying they are prescribing medicine, but they are prescribing cure for different medical. Somebody is coming to this church with big pumping stomach, like she's pregnant, but she's not pregnant because she has cancer there. And the pastor will say, just drink the oil, or cooking oil that's meant for cooking. They say, drink the oil, you are healed, go home. So churches and pastors and all those imams should be stopped from prescribing medicine or solution or cure or medical solutions like asking people to drink anointing oil, drink holy water, mantle, and not go to the hospital, or not take medicine, but using mantle to do something, to do some witchcraft. So all those other witchcraft paraphernalia, for healing and medical solutions should be banned, because they are scams. Next point, children should be prohibited from going through deliverance services. I mean, look at what has happened in, is it Akwa Ibom State or Cross River State with all those children. If you are doing deliverance for children younger than 12 years old, you should be prosecuted for it. Next point, there must be board of trustees in every church, because sometimes in those churches they don't have board. It's only the pastor. And those board of trustees must not consist of relatives and family members. That it must be in the law. These are the kind of things that Jim Obazi wanted to do. Assets cannot be acquired using tithe. You cannot take tithe of the people and just go and buy a hotel or just go and buy something. Offerings and donations in the name of, you cannot buy, use offering and donation to go and buy properties in the name of the pastor, or build university and put it under the pastor, build schools and put it under the pastor, build hospital and put it under the pastor's name. These things are crime and criminal acts. Pastors and head of churches should retire as regular, normal civil servants at the age of 60 to 65. Jim Obazi wanted to do this, even said 70 years old, but they still removed him. Churches should not be handed over to family members. Like, Oyedepo now, I heard he's already placing his son to replace him in the church. And next point, annual reports and audited financial statements must be filled with the relevant government agencies and posted on the church's notice board and on websites. And not just on the website of the church, but on the website of the regulatory bodies. And then next point, salaries of pastors and staff members must be made available and verifiable by auditors and accountants and church members, if necessary. Next point, if a church doesn't spend 50% of its income on charity, that church must be taxed. That mosque must be taxed and be made accountable for it, or its license should be withdrawn. Next point, churches must comply with the laws of the land, especially in regulations relating to building, because everybody just build whatever they want in their own church. In relation to building, fire, water, zoning, sewage, bathroom facilities, parking, noise pollution, garbage, disposal. All these things are what is available in all other countries of the world. You have to comply. You have to comply with the standard of the city. Not just because you are a church, you are allowed to do anything. Next point, churches and mosques as well should be warned against abusive practices against citizens. I mean, in the name of deliverance, if you see what's going on, they abuse citizens. There should be a prosecution article on that, especially when they are calling it deliverance of children, women, and other practices that could hurt people physically, emotionally, and psychologically. People should have the right to sue those churches and pastors for inflicting injuries and damage on them emotionally, physically, psychologically. This all should be punishable by the law. So I know that this thing I've done is going to attract a lot of criticism, and people are going to say I'm an antichrist, I've backslidden, I've lost my mind. But you know what? This must be done sooner or later in Nigeria. If this government doesn't do it, God will still raise up another government that will do it. This is how the normal, civilized, developed societies have been able to bring sanity to the religious circle and to the religious atmosphere in their nations. But their own is not even as bad as ours. Ours, we need it urgently. If we don't do it, we will live to regret it as a nation. For the love of God, church and nation. Peace. Sunday Adelaja here. If you believe in nation-building principles, please like this video, share it with your friends, and let's change our nations together.